Some things Japan has built into daily life are so practical and clever that the moment you encounter them, you immediately wonder why they don't exist everywhere. Bottle recycling machines at convenience stores that take back your empty bottles and reward you for returning them. A sheet of specially made paper you lay on the surface of a soup or ramen that absorbs the excess oil without touching the broth beneath it. And car turntables built into parking lots that rotate your vehicle to face the exit so you never have to reverse out of a tight space again. Japan doesn't just fix daily problems, it fixes them so completely that you only realize how much of a problem they were the moment you leave and have to go back to dealing with them the old way. Today, we're counting down 14 things in Japan that instantly fix daily problems. Watch until the end, because number 14, elder care programs in Japanese nursing homes that keep residents genuinely active and happy, shows how Japan treats aging as something worth designing around rather than simply managing. Number 1. 7-Eleven bottle recycling machines. Japan's 7-Eleven stores operate automated bottle recycling machines at the entrance that accepts empty plastic bottles, crushes them internally, and dispenses points to a registered loyalty card that converts into discounts on future purchases. You finish your bottle, insert it into the machine on your way into the store, and the points are added to your card before you've reached the register. The bottle is compacted inside the machine, the collection capacity is maximized, and the reward is immediate. The system addresses the specific friction point that prevents most people from recycling consistently. Finding a recycling point, making a separate trip, and receiving no immediate benefit makes the effort easy to deprioritize. The 7-Eleven machine is at a location you were already visiting, takes 10 seconds to use, and gives you something back for using it. Japan made recycling the convenient option rather than the effortful one and built the infrastructure at a place people were already visiting. Number 2. Car turntables in parking lots. Japan installs rotating car turntables in tight parking lots and narrow garage spaces that spin a parked vehicle to face the exit direction, eliminating the need to reverse out of a confined space into traffic or navigate a multi-point turn in an area with no room for error. You park, the attendant or automated system rotates the platform, and when you return, your car is already pointing toward the exit. You drive forward and leave. Reversing out of a tight urban parking space is one of the most consistently stressful aspects of city driving. The angle is wrong, the visibility is poor, and other vehicles or pedestrians are typically passing the exit at the exact moment you need to use it. The turntable removes that moment entirely. Japan recognized that the problem wasn't the parking. It was the leaving, and built a platform that rotates the car so the exit is always straight ahead. Number 3. Food oil absorbing paper. Japan produces oil absorbing paper specifically designed for food use that floats on the surface of soups, ramen, and hot pot broths, and draws the excess oil layer off the top without disturbing the broth beneath or removing any of the flavor compounds dissolved in the liquid. You lay the sheet on the surface, let it sit for a few seconds and lift it away. The oil transfers to the paper. The broth remains. The soup is cleaner, lighter, and easier to eat without the thick oil layer that accumulates on the surface of rich broths as they sit. The same paper is used under fried foods like tempura to absorb excess oil after cooking, keeping the batter crispy rather than allowing it to soften in pooled oil on the plate. Japan treated excess cooking oil as a precision problem with a paper solution and produced a product that handles it at the surface level without affecting anything underneath. If you're enjoying this so far, go ahead and tap like. It tells YouTube you want more of Japan's clever, everyday innovations. And if you love discovering things you didn't even know existed, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this list. Trust me, the next ones are even smarter. Number 4. Disposable gel ashtrays. Japan produces single-use pocket ashtrays in the form of small foil pouches containing a gel compound that extinguishes cigarette ends on contact, neutralizes odor, and seals shut for disposal, providing a self-contained portable ashtray that fits in a jacket pocket and produces no smoke, no smell, and no mess after use. You finish your cigarette, press the end into the gel, the ember is extinguished immediately, and the pouch seals. You carry it until you reach a bin and dispose of it as a single sealed unit. In Japan's designated smoking zone culture, where street smoking is restricted in most urban districts, the disposable ashtray provides the disposal infrastructure that the restriction requires. The smoker carries the solution rather than relying on a bin being nearby at the right moment. Japan made responsible cigarette disposal as convenient as irresponsible disposal and removed every practical reason to choose the pavement over a pocket-sized gel pouch that costs almost nothing. Number 5. Digital shower controls with temperature memory. Japan produces digital shower control panels that allow users to set an exact water temperature, save it as a preset, and recall it with a single button press so that every shower begins at the correct temperature from the first second, without any manual adjustment required. You press your saved preset, the water runs to the correct temperature before you step in, and the panel confirms when it's ready. The guesswork of adjusting hot and cold manually until the temperature feels right is removed entirely. The memory function means different household members can save their own preferred temperature and recall it independently. Nobody adjusts from someone else's setting. Nobody starts a shower cold and waits. Japan treated shower temperature as a preference worth saving, rather than a variable to be managed fresh every morning, and built the memory function into a standard bathroom appliance. The difference between stepping into a shower at the wrong temperature and stepping into one at exactly the right temperature starts the day differently. Number 6. GPS tracking in primary school bags. Japan builds GPS tracking devices into primary school Randaseru backpacks that allow parents to monitor their child's location in real time throughout the school day, receiving notifications when the child arrives at school, departs, and reaches home. The tracker is integrated into the bag rather than added as a separate device, meaning it travels with the child automatically without any daily setup or the possibility of being left behind. The parent receives location updates through a smartphone app throughout the journey. Japan's culture of children commuting independently from age 6 creates the specific need this technology addresses. The independence is genuine. The child navigates the route alone. The GPS provides the parent with the reassurance that the journey is progressing as expected without supervising it directly. Japan built the infrastructure that makes childhood independence and parental awareness coexist rather than compete, treating both as legitimate needs that technology can satisfy simultaneously without compromising either. Number 7. Orderly train boarding queue lines. Every train platform in Japan has marked queuing positions painted on the floor, indicating exactly where each carriage door will open, and passengers form orderly lines at these marks before the train arrives, rather than gathering in an unstructured crowd at the platform edge. When the train stops, the doors open directly in front of the queues. Passengers exit first while the boarding queue waits on either side of the door. Once the platform is clear, the queue boards in order. The process is efficient, calm, and requires no announcement or staff management. The system works because the marks are there and the cultural expectation of observing them is strong enough to make the queue self-maintaining. Nobody pushes in. Nobody blocks the exit. The entire boarding process takes less time than an unmanaged crowd produces and leaves every passenger feeling less stressed than the alternative. Japan painted lines on a platform and produced one of the most consistently civilized public transit experiences in the world. Number 8. Jelly water packets. Japan produces drinking water in a solid jelly form inside individually sealed squeezable sachets, delivering hydration in a gel consistency that requires no bottle, no cup, no lid, and produces no spillage regardless of how the packet is handled or compressed. You tear the corner and squeeze the gel directly into your mouth. The water content is equivalent to drinking the same volume in liquid form. The format is completely spill-proof, requires no open container, and can be consumed in any position without any risk of the contents going anywhere except where intended. The format is particularly practical for elderly people with swallowing difficulties, for athletes who need hydration without interrupting movement, and for emergency supply kits where water needs to be stored compactly and consumed quickly in conditions where a standard bottle is impractical. Japan questioned whether water needed to be liquid to be portable and found that it doesn't. The result is hydration in a format that works in every situation a bottle cannot and takes up a fraction of the space. Number 9. Washroom sound masking buttons. Japan's Otoheim device installed in toilet cubicles across the country plays the sound of flushing water at the press of a button to mask bathroom sounds without requiring the toilet to be flushed repeatedly throughout the visit as acoustic cover. You press the button, the device plays a flush sound at a volume sufficient to cover whatever is happening in the cubicle, and you use the facilities without the social anxiety of being heard in a quiet shared bathroom. The practical benefit is twofold. The user has genuine acoustic privacy. The building saves the water that would have been wasted on multiple unnecessary flushes, performed purely to generate covering noise, which in a busy office building or shopping center amounts to a measurable daily saving. Japan acknowledged a universal human discomfort, recognized it as legitimate rather than trivial, and built a quiet, practical solution, then installed it in every public bathroom in the country, rather than leaving the problem to the individual to manage with their own coping strategies. Number 10. Elevator buttons that cancel when pressed twice. Certain elevators in Japan allow a selected floor button to be canceled by pressing it a second time, removing the need to ride to a wrongly selected floor or wait for the doors to open and close at a stop you didn't intend to make. You press the wrong floor by mistake, press it again, and the selection clears. The elevator continues to its correct destination without the unnecessary stop. In most elevators worldwide, a pressed button stays pressed, regardless of how immediately you recognize the error. The only options are riding to the wrong floor or waiting for it to pass through the incorrect stop. while other passengers wonder why the doors are opening on an empty floor. Japan identified the specific frustration of an irreversible accidental button press and built a cancel function into a piece of infrastructure so standard that the absence of it everywhere else only becomes obvious after you've used an elevator that has it. Number 11. Transparent umbrellas for rain visibility. Japan's transparent vinyl umbrellas are the most widely used umbrella format in the country, and the reason is entirely practical. A clear canopy means you can see directly above and in front of you while using it, maintaining full spatial awareness in crowded pedestrian conditions, where an opaque umbrella creates a blind spot at head height. In Japan's dense urban environments, where narrow footpaths fill with pedestrians during rain, the transparent umbrella reduces collisions, allows eye contact between approaching pedestrians, and makes navigating a crowded pavement significantly safer and less stressful than moving beneath an opaque canopy that blocks your view of everything at the level where other people's heads and umbrellas actually are. They are inexpensive, available at every convenience store, and so universally used that the visual effect of a Tokyo street in rain is a sea of overlapping clear domes through which the city remains entirely visible. Japan made the practical choice the default one and produced an umbrella that works better in crowds than any opaque alternative, regardless of its design. Number 12. Waterproof notebook paper. Japan produces notebooks and loose sheets made from synthetic polymer material that accepts standard pen and pencil marks normally, but is completely waterproof, tear-resistant, and functional in any weather condition, including rain, humidity, and direct water exposure. You write on it in the rain and the ink stays. You spill a drink on it and the page survives intact. You fold it repeatedly and it doesn't deteriorate along the crease the way paper does after the second or third fold. The material feels similar enough to paper that writing on it requires no adjustment in technique or tool. The difference is entirely in what it survives, rather than how it accepts a mark. For outdoor professionals, field researchers, construction workers, and anyone who needs to write in conditions where standard paper fails, the waterproof notebook removes the specific anxiety of documentation being destroyed by the environment it's being used in. Japan made a notebook that works in the rain because people who need to take notes don't stop needing to take notes when the weather changes. Number 13. Jet towel hand dryers that dry in 10 seconds. Mitsubishi's jet towel hand dryer uses two high-speed air blade channels that the user inserts their hands into vertically, with air jets directed at both surfaces of each hand simultaneously from above and below, stripping water from the skin in around 10 seconds rather than the 30 to 40 seconds a conventional warm air dryer requires. You insert your hands, the air blades activate, and the water is physically displaced rather than evaporated. The result is dry hands in a fraction of the time a standard dryer produces, without the residual dampness that most conventional dryers leave because the drying time runs out before the evaporation is complete. The hygiene standard is also higher because hands don't need to be waved around in a warm airstream that recirculates whatever is in the immediate air above the drain below. Japan engineered a hand dryer that actually finishes drying your hands in the time you're prepared to stand there, which is what every hand dryer was supposed to do, and most of them never quite managed. Number 14. Elder care programs in nursing homes. Japanese nursing homes implement structured daily activity programs that treat the mental, physical, and social engagement of elderly residents as a core care function rather than an optional supplement to medical management, with facilities offering everything from traditional craft workshops and music sessions to light exercise classes and intergenerational visit programs with local schools. The philosophy behind the approach is rooted in the concept of ikigai, a reason for being, and the recognition that physical health outcomes in elderly residents are directly connected to whether they feel purposeful, social, and engaged, rather than simply housed and medically maintained. Residents participate in activities that reflect their interests and background. Former teachers give informal lessons. Residents with craft skills run workshops. The program treats the person rather than the condition. Japan built elder care around the understanding that a resident who is genuinely engaged, mentally stimulated, and socially connected requires less medical intervention and lives better in every measurable way. The activity program is not a luxury addition to the care, it is the care. If you want to see more amazing things Japan is doing better than the rest of the world, then like and subscribe. And make sure to watch the video on your end screen. It's packed with even more problem-fixing things.